Mr. Secretary Mike Pompeo, my name is Wang Ping-Chung, the spokesperson for the new party, Taiwan's political party. During the pandemic of the COVID-19, the enemy of all human beings, including the American people and the Chinese people, is definitely the coronavirus. However, as the Secretary of State of the United States, you seem to consider China, instead of the virus, to be your enemy. It lets you do little in pandemic prevention, but much in blaming the WHO and China. You have even made great efforts to politicalize the issue of public health to attack China, which reflects the prevailing concept in the United States of so-called China's threat. The threat to the United States is not China, but the loss of self-confidence indeed. As President Franklin Roosevelt once said, only thing we have to fear is fear itself. The threat you have to fear today is not others, but yourselves. Even though you have done your best to shift blames on the WHO and China, the fact is really clear of American domestic misdiagnosed cases, which has been seen as H1N1 since last autumn, but in fact coronavirus. It is also your fault in underestimating the severity of the epidemic, while China sacrificed itself to let the world have more preparation time. Accordingly, the COVID-19 has killed more than 50,000 people of the United States. As Chinese population is 4 times larger than America's, it is quite shocking that America's death toll due to the COVID-19 has been above China's. I feel so sorry for the suffering of your people, yet it is never too late to mend. However, not only did you palm off the responsibility on others, but you also undermined the international solidarity against the pandemic. Moreover, you even tried to deny the status of the WHO as the coordinator for the universal combat against diseases, which in some way means challenging the international institutions under the governance of the United Nations. It is unbelievable that the United States, viewing itself as world leader for more than half a century, is tending to destroy the world order, which has been recognized by the international society. The very reason I can think of is the loss of the United States' self-confidence. It is the threat not only to the United States, but also to the whole world. For liberalists in the United States, China has been believed either an opponent or a violator to international constitutions. As far as it's concerned, there had been debates whether to keep containing China economically and militarily, or engaging it constitutionally. Both were resulted from America's self-confidence in its leadership. Consequently, the confidence gradually changed into arrogance, which lured America into aggressing upon other countries as global superpower, without any permission from the United Nations Security Council. It made America exhausted at last. Therefore, the United States has become an isolationist and even a betrayer to the international constitutions they established before. On the contrary, China seems more like a protector of the world order. On the other hand, for realists, the predominant thinkers in international politics, China has been believed the primary threat to America. As they estimate, there will be threat if any other regional hegemony occurs. The nation's fear becomes beyond what its capability can hold. To some extent, this is the real crisis to your people. In fact, different from Western nations developing themselves by oppressing and exploiting others, the Chinese people have risen out of poverty at the cost of blood, sweat, and tears of our own. I would like to remind you of Franklin Roosevelt's self-evident words that nothing to fear but fear itself. The only threat you have to conquer is the threat in your mind. As Henry Kissinger has suggested, relations between China and the United States need not and should not become a zero-sum game. He also suggested that China and America build the Pacific community with each other. Thinking in the same way, Chinese President Xi also claimed that the vast Pacific Ocean has enough space for two large countries of the United States and China. Furthermore, I believe the world is large enough to embrace different political and social systems. As Western liberalism has met in recent years difficulties in overconsumption and governance failure, we need to be more open-minded to the superiority of China's governance in some fields, especially the high efficiency in combating the epidemic. The United States should also be more self-confident to have China rising under the global governance of international institutions, sharing with mutual benefits instead of destroying each other. Without doubt, only by doing so can the United States overcome the real threat to itself and bring the world peace and prosperity, the real universal values for all mankind.